of you has joined. We hope other people join us while we are underway. So today we have James Bardwell joining us. So James is a design educator. He's an advocate for design education, and then he's also a tech entrepreneur who is using community-driven initiatives to grow talents in Africa. And currently, he's the founder of the Amazing Design People list, that is ADP lists, which has been an amazing platform that is helping so many young people around the world, especially designers, get mentorship from very well qualified people. And I think he's the best person that we can rely on as far as understanding mentorship and its role in education is concerned. So without saying much more, I'll just let Nancy take over, and then we can have a wonderful chat. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Benjamin. So before we start with the program for today, I would like to tell you a little bit more about the Better Me project. So the Better Me project is an online platform or a non-profit organization that seeks to equip and empower young people and also students to take charge of their education. And so we are doing this by helping them improve on their personal development skills, communication, leadership, personal branding, and also, critical thinking skills. So we are trying to help the students, especially in Africa, to take charge or to own their education. So that's basically what the Better Me project is about. And so with this, we'll move straight into our program for this evening. Welcome to the Better Me series, James.
Thanks. Excited to be here.
We are very happy to have you to this evening. So the last time we spoke on video was like, I think last year or so.
Yeah.
And how has it been since that time?
It's been exciting, right? I've been working on multiple things, and I think one of the interesting things or spaces I've ventured into has to do with Web3, learning the space, seeing the opportunities in there. But then aside that, my main focus has been on ADP list and how we can better push our vision and goals, and then how we can also help people as much as mentorship is concerned.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a busy ride.
Yeah, and I think you guys are doing a very great job, because I've also benefited from it by you mentoring me last year. So you guys should keep it up, and we will learn from you.
Glad to hear that.
Okay, so we'll go straight into the main topic for today. So since you are into mentorship, we think you are the best person to tell us more about it. So you said you are going to help people grow together, and I believe it's also in the line of mentorship. So can you throw more light on that for us?
Yeah, I think when mostly when I'm asked about mentorship, right, I think what most people don't know is that mentorship is a form of education. So basically, I want to become a designer, right? And of course, there is this formal education where you have to go to school, acquire a degree, and it's more like structured, right? But then after that, people find themselves wanting, because the industry is far different from what we actually know from school. And so sometimes navigating a space becomes a very difficult thing for most people. And that is where mentorship comes in. So what mentorship does is really helps people to easily find the resources and then the knowledge they need to actually survive or survive our journeys in the space, right? Now, when we say we want to help people grow together, we believe that first of all, social learning is very important. So, for instance, we are on this call, we are learning from each other, right? And the good thing about social learning is that you hear different perspectives about things. So the way you think about design or engineering or anything else is different from the way I think about it. And all of this knowledge come together to create diverse opinions and perspectives to which people can actually gain some value from. And so that is why we believe that learning together, right, is very important in the kind of like world we find ourselves in.
Okay, yeah, that's great. So why you could have chosen anything apart from mentorship? You could have chosen fintech, healthcare, anything. Why mentorship specifically, apart from the fact that it's like social education?
Yeah, so I think, as I said, really, there are so many talented people that are trying to build something or build their career, right? But then lack the resources needed to make that happen. Fintech is very interesting. Everything else is very interesting, right? But one of the things that really drives most of us in this space is the impact, right? Social impact that comes with this. So imagine helping somebody realizing who or what they want to be, right? I think personally, I feel fulfillment in that, right? And luckily, I find people with the same kind of mindset. Yes, money is important, but then more importantly, service to humanity, which is like something that we all can never ignore. And so I think one of the best places to do this, right? Of course, there are so many NGOs doing so many things, right? But then again, right, if you can give somebody money, you can you can give them all the things that you need, go to orphanages and all of those stuff, right? But those resources are can easily be consumed. They won't last long. But then people say that it's better to teach somebody how to fish than rather give them the fish, right? And I
Yeah.
think helping people realize where they need to go is more important than actually giving them the resources.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So it means what we're also doing here at the Better Me Project is kind of a way of mentorship, you'd say, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah. Okay. So is it a new thing? Is it something that is just coming up? Because for instance, what you do at ADP List, I haven't seen a lot of companies do that, especially those who organize mentorship programs. So is it a new thing, or it has already been there since?
Yes, so mentorship has already been there for some time now, but whether or not it's very effective or favors some of us is the issue, right? One of the reasons why we started this is I think one of our first ideas was to democratize mentorship. Why do we need to democratize mentorship if it's already been there? But the thing is, it's sort of gated. When I say gated, it means that it's limited to, it's exclusive to certain people who can actually afford it, right? So,
Yeah.
for instance, until ADP list, most people cannot reach out to mentors, to people in Google to get mentorship. It's literally not possible. Imagine a student from KNUST first year trying to reach out to an engineer in Google. Like, how possible is that,
Yeah.
right? And that is the kind of exposure that we lack here. And what we are trying to do is make it easy for these things to happen, level the playing ground, so that the talent and then the minds we have here can also have access to that opportunity so that they can also grow. Because there are so many talented people out here, especially in Ghana, Nigeria, Nairobi here, even meeting people, right? And you realize that with a little resource or push, right, these guys are able to do marvelous things. So why don't we find a way so that those that have the opportunities or those that are willing to help, right, have access to these people to impact them with the knowledge that they have.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is why we what we are trying to do, and that is why it's very important that we try to give access, and it needs to be affordable because when you look at most mentorship platforms that existed before us, most of them charge a lot of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how many of us can even afford that in the first place? It's literally not possible. People just be like, how many of us even buy online courses, right? We don't do that, right? But then we also need that knowledge and the guidance. And so how do we make it available to people who cannot afford it? And so that's why it seems like what we are doing has some impact and has some reach to to it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think it's a great thing, as I've already said before. Now, a few weeks ago, I was speaking to one student, and then she said she just wanted someone to guide her, but she doesn't necessarily need a mentor. So I was a bit confused. Like, what's the difference? You want someone to guide you, but you don't need a mentor. What's the difference?
I think I think in this space there are two things, right? People confuse mentorship and coaching. You want somebody to guide you, right?
Mhm.
I think people see coaching as the person is sort of your um, uh, sort of a caretaker in your career, sort of person guides you, leads you, tells you exactly what to do. That's a coach, right? And that's different from mentorship. Mentorship is basically learning from the person who you see, right, or who you look up to. The person doesn't necessarily need to force you to do anything, right? So, for instance, I am mentioning Richmond, right? I don't need to tell Richmond that you need to learn this course, blah blah. If I have a resource, I'll share with him. If he has a question, he can basically reach out to me, right? So, I think people mostly confuse mentorship and then coaching, and there are people, a lot of like beginners or young people who expect that um, you hold their hands through everything, and that's a very big mistake. So, sort of what the person is saying, guide me, right?
Yeah.
I You need to be able to find what or understand what you want to do for me to be able to help you. I
Mhm.
cannot tell you how to go about your things. If you want somebody to tell you what to do, then get a coach. But then if you want a mentor, mentors are more like role models, right? You look up to them, you ask them questions, you get them to guide you, right? They don't come to you because they don't earn anything from you, they don't get any benefit from you, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's on the general level. Yeah.
Okay. So that said, who qualifies to be a mentor?
I think to be a mentor, first of all, you need to be experienced with dealing with people, right? And the reason why I'm saying this is that there are so many people that tried mentorship and then they realize that it's very difficult to deal with different kind of people. Now, you need to be very patient with people. You need to be understanding. You need to know that, okay, give the person the benefit of the doubt that they do not know, and that is why you are guiding them. And so a mentor needs to have enough knowledge to be able to relate to their mentee, enough experience to be able to help and guide them. Experience is required because you would have probably navigated a space before, right? So you've probably faced some issues, roadblocks, and then you've probably found solutions to how to navigate those roadblocks. And so those are the two main things I would say qualify somebody to be a mentor. Aside that, of course, you need to be respectful, you need to be available when you're needed, sort of. And then also, you need to be morally upright. And the reason why I say this is there are certain cases where there are some mentors are trying to take advantage of their mentees,
Mhm.
which is obviously not something you
Yeah.
would want to
Yeah.
try.
Yeah. So, at what point do you realize that okay, I think the with the direction I'm going, I need someone to guide me? At what point do you realize, maybe as a student, do you realize that you need somebody?
Um, well, using myself as an example, I realized I needed to speak with people or have mentors when I realized I needed to grow, right? So there is a point where you realize that it's what you are doing is not enough, right? So for instance, I complete university and I've started working. Let's say I'm a graphic designer, and all the time I'm doing the same thing, but then I go online and I realize that there are like so many marvelous things happening, so many new things coming up, right? And I don't know where to start from. That is where you need to speak to somebody you think has more experience, right? Another thing is if I'm transitioning from one point to the other. So assuming I was in health and then I wanted to move into technology, right? That's another reason why you speak to somebody who can mentor you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, hmm, what do students get wrong when it comes to mentorship?
So many things actually. Uh, the first thing is thinking that a mentor has to solve their problems for them.
I
Again,
mean, I
the
came to
mentor,
you to help me, so maybe you should help me solve my problems.
yeah, but then the thing is, right, I may be a problem solver, but you are the best person to solve your own problem. All I can do is guide you and tell you that, okay, Nancy, if you do this and that, right, it might help you, right?
Mm,
Or I did it and that, it helped me. So maybe you can try. And so most people think that, okay, when I speak with a mentor, that's the end of my problems. No, that is not the end of your problems, right? If you come to me for portfolio review, it's just a single perspective I'm giving you. That is where I see things, right? And so it's up to you at the end of the day to read more, learn more, so that you get more ideas from different places and then improve on that. Another thing is to think that the mentor is responsible for your success. The mentor is not responsible for your success. Whether you succeed or not is up to you. So you realize that most students are like, I have this mentor, but I keep failing. Things don't work out for me. No, it's not the mentor's responsibility to make things work for you. They are not magicians. They are supposed to help you, guide you, give the resources you need, right? But then at the end of the day, being successful is up to you. It's your duty to become successful. You do not expect people to make you successful, especially your mentors, right? And another thing is another mistake most young people make is thinking that the mentor needs to be always available for them. But the mentor has their own things to do. Like you do not own them, you do not own their time, right? They are giving out their time to you. Thinking that the mentor has to be available for you is a very big mistake you are making. The mentor is basically giving out a portion of themselves to you. So it's better to take advantage of the little time you have with them than to expect more from them. They are giving to you and you are receiving. So receive what you can. What they are giving you, receive as much as you can. Do not demand so much. If you want more of their time, then get a coach that you pay and then it can be available for you
right. Okay. So
every time. And I think the final thing I would say
sorry.
is most mentees don't respect their mentors, and it's really frustrating, and that puts off a lot of mentors. They are like, okay, I'm giving my time to this person, and they're not making time. They don't seem to respect me, or sort of, right? And so, and that's where accountability comes in, right? So it makes the mentor realize that, okay, this person I'm mentoring is not accountable. And when that issue pops up, that is literally an issue with your relationship with the mentor.
Okay. So what responsibilities do mentors have? If now we've talked about the responsibilities of the mentees, what responsibilities do the mentors also have towards their mentees?
Yeah, so I will speak for AD Police mentors and then what I've learned so far, right? I think
Okay.
most mentors feel passionate about their mentees and rooting for their mentees' success. Primarily, right? I'm helping somebody so they can be successful. Of course, there is no guarantee that I have to make them successful, but then I need to do whatever it takes to help them achieve their goals, right?
Yeah.
Also, another thing I need to do is help shape the individual. So shaping the individual basically means that I'm giving to them what I have learned in terms of experiences, right? In terms of resources that I have. It means if I have a book I think it's going to help you, I'll just give the book to you to read, right? If I have a newsletter, whatever resources I have, I give it to you so that it helps shape you. Another thing is to help the mentee become very accountable with their lives, right? So for instance, I have a mentorship session with you and then I ask you, all I do is, okay, just read this and that without following up with you and then trying to understand where you've been, right? I think
Yeah.
it's really not going to help the mentee. So one of the things is being helping the mentee to be accountable, following up with them really helps build the mentor-mentee relationship. Yeah.
Okay. So you we mentioned before that the mentor needs to be morally upright. Apart from that, at what point do you realize that you need to put an end to the mentorship relationship?
I think the most important thing in a mentor-mentee relationship, which is like any relationship, is accountability, right? And if we both need to be accountable for everything, right? Especially the mentee. Imagine having like sessions with somebody, and all the time you probably do a portfolio review, and then all the time they don't get back to you with feedback. You ask them to read something and share with you, they don't do that. Like that demoralizes the whole relationship. Like it breaks off everything, right? And I think that's one thing most mentor-mentee relationships suffer from: accountability. And so I think personally that's the most important thing. There may be other things. There may be other things like, I think there are other factors like distance, time zone, and so many things, right? And even the field of expertise, and then the difference in experience, and so many things that like usually have an effect on the mentor-mentee relationship. But then the most important is accountability.
Okay. And we also mentioned that we are not supposed to, the mentors are not supposed to solve all of our problems. So does it mean we need more than one mentor?
There is no problem having more than one mentor. Most of the smartest mentees I know, or most of my students actually have other people teaching them, right? And they come back to me with different perspectives of things, which is the best. You cannot be better by just reading one book. You need to read different books in the same field to understand different perspectives, right? Same goes for mentorship. And so when you do that, you get, the most important thing is having diverse experiences or ideas on a single thing. When you have different experiences, you are able to formulate your own like path, or ideas that actually work for you. The goal is that you find something that works for you. And so when you find something that works for you, you basically stick with that. You don't take somebody's own and then think it works for you. No, it doesn't work that way. We are very different dynamic in various ways, even culturally, right? That's why you need to get ideas from different places. And I always often advise people that if you are looking for mentors, don't look for mentors in one geography. Look for mentors from different cultural backgrounds or different geographies, right? Get a mentor in the US, China, in India, wherever, right? And then learn from them how they do things. It really forms a different pattern of behavior in you and how you approach and think about things.
Okay. So how many is too much? How many mentors is too much?
I think there is this saying that a student, it's very difficult for a student to learn from two masters, right? But then I would always say that, I mean, it's, of course you don't need to have 10 mentors. It just doesn't make sense, right? It means you
Yeah.
need to be accountable for all of things, like having 10 different relationships. You need to manage expectations, right? But then having up to 5 mentors is a fine thing, at least. Just make sure they are diverse in various ways. That's good enough. I know there are mentees on ADP list who have like over 40 mentors and all of those. I wonder what they are learning. But yeah, everybody with what works for them.
Okay. So is AD Place for only designers, or people from different backgrounds can apply for mentorship?
ADP list covers, I think, 4 main areas right now: design, product, management, marketing, and engineering. We are looking to add more verticals. But then, yeah, I mean, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a marketer, if you're a designer, whatever you are, I think you definitely find somebody who has probably previously done something in your field, right? So I think anybody can use ADP list, anybody at all, as far as you just know what you want and the kind of person you want to speak with.
Okay. So apart from AD Place, where can students find mentors?
There are a number of platforms, but then I think alternatively LinkedIn. But then the problem with most platforms or places like LinkedIn is that you it's hard to get a mentor who is available in the next few hours or in the next few days, right? Sometimes you reach out to somebody and over several weeks they don't respond, and that's also a problem why we even have ADPs in the first place. So yeah, there are so many platforms, even schools, wherever, right? But then yeah.
I also think your seniors at school can also be mentors in some way or the other, or they need to be people who are quite older or in the workforce?
I think one of the things about mentorship is if if you find somebody that knows something that you don't
Mm-hmm.
or has experienced something that you haven't, the person can potentially be your mentor,
Mm,
right? So whether seniors in school, whether your siblings who are older than you or ahead of you, even your colleagues in school who have probably learned something you have not, right? You can actually learn from those people. The idea of mentorship is basically learning from somebody
yeah.
in a very social way, right? Unlike school, that is more structured. You have to go to school, you have to read textbooks and all of this stuff, right? Learning from somebody who has already experienced, it's easy for them to show you what mistakes they made, how they navigated those mistakes, and what to expect, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, literally, you can learn from anybody.
So
Just know
it's not
exactly.
complicated at all.
No. It's very simple and straightforward. It's a very simple thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I agree. Okay, so maybe I've found a mentor now. I found someone from afar. How do I approach this person to be my mentor?
I think that's a very important question, right? So for me, or from what I've seen on ADP list, right? First of all, you need to be able to introduce yourself. You need to know what you want. You need to know what you want to learn from the person. You need to understand or clearly communicate what the end goal of the relationship you want to build is, right? So, assuming I find a mentor on LinkedIn or ADP list, right? Why am I going to approach this mentor? What do I need from the person? What on their profile basically drags me or pulls me to them? Why do I think they are the right person to help me? What do I really need? What's the end goal of the relationship? Do I want to be a better designer? Do I want to change my career path? Do I want to do something else, right? You need to
Yeah.
define all of this and clearly communicate with the person. Now, once you clearly communicate this with the person is able to structure themselves and think of how they are going to help you. People are available, people have the experience that maybe you reach out to them instantly, they know exactly what to tell you. But then most people need to think about how to go about helping you. And so the best is to properly introduce yourself, define your expectations, what's your outcomes, what outcomes you are expecting from that relationship. Once you define those things, it's easier to approach people. And of course, the good thing is when the expectations are clearly communicated and the person knows they can't help you, they can actually refer you to somebody else. That's a
Mm,
good thing about this. So
yeah.
yeah.
So definitely, if you prepare well, you'll be guaranteed someone is going to help you.
Yes, mostly, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So how? Okay, I think we've talked about how a student needs to prepare himself for mentorship. So how do students ruin that mentorship? Because I once spoke to someone and we had a meeting and they didn't show up at all and they didn't mention anything. And I believe that is also one thing that ruins a mentorship. What other things ruin mentorship, especially on the part of students?
Um, Not respecting your mentor's time and not knowing what you want. Uh, I will never accept your request again if you don't show up on our first meeting. It's like taking a girl out on a date and you don't appear. Like, who does
Yeah.
that? And also, not being able to define what you want, right? So, for instance, I reach out to a mentor and I'm like, I'm a new designer. I need mentorship. Okay, what do you really need? Like, there is no context to what you need. And so it's very difficult for people. And most often, when you do that, there are so many. I receive so many messages on LinkedIn, and I just ignore because I don't have the time to be asking you exactly what you need. So and the best thing for me to do is save my energy to just ignore. Another thing is not um, not valuing what the mentor is doing for you, right? So there are so many people who have probably gotten a mentorship from one person or the other, and then simple thank you, they don't say. They feel like, okay, I mean, since you are a mentor, you are supposed to help me. No, I'm helping
I
what.
think, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you easily put people off if they feel like you don't appreciate what they are doing for you.
Mm, yeah, true. True. So generally, how has mentorship helped you as a person, uh, as a student, and then also as a professional?
Yeah. So I think I was at a roadblock some years back where I thought, okay, I was learning so many things, right? I was learning so many programming languages, C Sharp and all of those stuff, working on projects, also designing. I was like, okay, I need to find somewhere to focus, right? I need to find a path. And that was why I needed mentorship. I needed somebody to help me really make that decision. Now, I reached out to somebody, and then the person basically asked me a few questions, asked me about my interests and all of those stuff. And the person was like, okay, from your answers, right, I think you should go into design, right?
Mm,
And that really helped me a lot. Other than that, I would have been meddling through things, learning all over the place, and wouldn't find where I probably somewhere to focus and master my craft, right? And so personally, that has really defined or has been a turning point for me and where I am today. Another point is basically when I started doing community stuff, right? So one of the people that has been very elemental to my career introduced me to community stuff through Figma ambassadorship and all of those stuff, right? And the person has really helped me understand how to, or the importance of making impact, helping people, right? And so through that, I got to like learn that look, um, service to humanity is one of the most important things. We all like money, want to venture into so many things, right? But then at the end of the day, right, what do you really gain that fulfillment from? And
mhm,
so that's been another like very important step in my life, realizing the importance of really giving back to the community. And I think the final thing has to do with leadership, right? Which I still like have weekly mentorship with my mentor, right? Leadership, leading people, helping people, being culturally minded, diverse, and all of those stuff. And there is a point where you are no longer executing design sort of on a daily basis, but then you have to deal with people. And so that is where leadership comes. And leadership, even though there are people who are natural leaders, there are most people who also have to learn. And so that has really also been so many things. There's been so many things I learned from this person and about how to lead people, how to deal with people, and has really been an amazing thing for me and what I do at AD Village right now. So
that's wonderful. So thank you very much. I think I've talked enough, and I'm going to give our people a chance to ask you some questions. So
sure.
if anyone has a question, you can either raise your hand or you can send it via the Q&A session. I think I have one here already. So Richmond is asking, prior to ADP list, what other ventures did you invest your time into?
So many things actually. Um, so I think I was a Figma ambassador. I mean, talking about design, right? I was a Figma ambassador some time back. I think Richmond was one of my students when I got the opportunity to teach them in was it level 300 or 200 in the University of Ghana, right? And after that, I decided to build a design agency and a design education agency with a friend. I think that was where I was teaching Webflow, and then my friend was teaching design. And yeah, for some time, he worked well, helped a few people, and I decided to move more into mentorship and community stuff where ADP came into, right? Aside that, I also started a few other projects like Have Find Me, which the goal is to help provide exposure to founders and company startups here, to investors, and then also help them to gain resources and all of those stuff, and then a few other things as well. But yeah, I think these are the major things that
Yeah,
I have spent my time with.
you've been very busy.
Yes.
Okay, any more question, please? Benjamin.
James, thank you so much for the insight you've shared. I think the first thing that struck me was the fact that mentorship was a form of education. I don't know, but for some reason, it just never crossed my mind. In my mind, that was a thanks for bringing that up. So I wanted to know, um, is mentorship fun or is it stressful sometimes? I mean, the mentorship that does not that still ends up in the person becoming successful. Is it fun? Is it difficult, or are there what makes it fun? What makes it stressful sometimes?
Yeah. So it's stressful when your mentees are not making it. It's fun when they're making it, right? When you see your mentees growing, when you see them succeeding, right? Um, Everything else becomes even more fun. But then when you see them not doing anything with themselves, even the resources you give them, then you feel like you wasted your time, right? So I think it's a bit of both, and the outcome just defines how you how you see it. So
Thank you.
Okay. We have Ajua here, Efua, Anita. If you have any question, you can raise your hand or
Olivia is
type it in the question. We have Olivia also.
Olivia asking a question.
Maybe we've said everything.
Yes. But then maybe we ask them. Maybe we just have to find out from them what they have gathered from the session. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think you should go ahead, Benjamin.
Yes. This stuff, yeah. Okay,
Okay,
someone
so
asked a question.
yeah.
Does a mentor need to be someone necessarily with the experience in your field?
okay, doesn't need to be
Experience,
someone.
it's not necessary.
Um, well, it depends, right? So for if you are looking for mentorship in leadership, right, or people management, you don't necessarily need to have technical experience, and so you just need to be very good with people or know about how to manage people, right? But then if you need mentorship in design, for instance, which is technical, you need to have mentorship with somebody who has experience designing, right? Otherwise, there isn't anything to learn from the person. You'll be probably better off just watching YouTube videos.
Okay, nice. So, as I think we have looked at how mentorship benefits the mentee and then the student. So, how does it benefit the mentor too? So that those of us who are here also in the future, I mean, we should aspire to become mentors, right?
Yeah. So I think the relationship is reciprocal, right? So as you teach people, you learn, right?
Okay.
That's basically the general rule. And so the more you talk to people, the more you try to teach people, you'll be forced to actually learn. And trust me, like there are so many cases where you hop on a session with a mentee and you don't really have to talk. The mentee does all the talking. They figure out what they need, and you are just there listening to them and even learning from their experiences, right? And so I think it's a two-way relationship where the mentors also learn from the mentees. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Wow. What about age? Mm, age gap. How does it work as far as age gap is concerned? Can an older person mentor a younger person, and a younger person? But can you have the reverse? Usually, we see people, younger people, looking up to older people. So, how has that? Have you ever been in a situation where a younger person is mentoring? How does it work?
Yeah. I remember hopping on a session with a man over 20 years older than me, with children and a family. And the first thing he was like, um, he really appreciates that I spoke with him, and he knows he's older than me, but I shouldn't feel like I can't advise him. That was the first thing he said, right? And so age really doesn't matter in this case, right? So people often mistake age to be sort of defining wisdom or knowledge. No, it does not, right? So you can actually mentor people who are older or younger than you. It doesn't really matter as far as you know something they don't, or as far as you can give them any value at all. It doesn't really matter.
Makes sense. Once you have a certain amount of knowledge they need, then it means you are in the position to guide them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we have another question from Richmond. He says, considering how long it takes to get good at design or a particular skill, does it become depressing waiting till they get good?
Um, well, one thing you should know is people grow differently, people learn differently, right? For me, fortunately for me, right, it doesn't take me a long time to learn and learn and master things, which has really helped me a lot. That doesn't mean that I should consider people or feel like people are like me. No, people are different. People are slow, like at taking up skills and all of those stuff. Right. So all you need to do is have enough patience. And one of the values of being a good mentor is having patience. And so you should or you must be patient with your mentees. Don't expect to catch up easily. Of course, there are certain cases where it takes too long, and you probably need to refer them to somebody else. Maybe you are not doing a good job. And I think the good thing about most very great mentors is when their mentees are not catching up to the pace that they expect, right? They do a self evaluation of whether or not the problem is them, the mentor, or the problem is the mentee. If the problem is them, then they see how to improve and help the mentee. If the problem is the mentee, they probably find a solution for the mentee by referring them to somebody who could probably help them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you need a deep dive into what exactly is happening in order to make your
Wow. Wow.
decisions.
Wow. I think that looks like some level of high
Yeah.
commitment over there. Something going on, and then you evaluate the mentor evaluating yourself to find out whether you could be the problem. I'm sure it has to be some kind of commitment, or some kind of empathy needs to go into that one too. So I think empathy needs to play a big role in the whole idea of mentorship.
Yeah.
I think I used to have a simplistic idea of mentorship.
Any more questions? Okay, another one is here. How does a mentee withdraw themselves from a mentor when they realize the mentor is not meeting their needs? And at what point do they do that?
Um, I think you should, one of the things you should know is you need to set your expectations clear before trying to build a mentor-mentee relationship or looking out for somebody, right? And the reason why I'm saying this is a very important question, right? Most people don't know what they want. And so they reach out to somebody not clearly stating what they want. And so it feels like, okay, even though I reach out to the person, Sometimes mentees feel like, okay, because I reach out to the mentor, they should be able to figure out what I need. It doesn't work that way. And so if you don't know what you want, there is no way the mentor is going to help you. And so sometimes they often mistake the fact that, okay, the mentor is not able to help them. No, you need to be specific about what you want sometimes, right? Not to say that mentors are always perfect, right? But then back to the question, right? You shouldn't shy away from being very honest with people, right? It doesn't mean you have to be rude. You shouldn't shy away from being honest with people. If you feel like the relationship is not benefiting you, or you are not getting the like your expectations are not being met, you need to communicate with the person. Now there are two things. It's either you clearly communicate and then the person finds an amends for you or refer you to somebody else, or you just like end their relationship, right? So basically, if it's a monthly or weekly schedule session you have with the person, you just stop it, and then tell the person that, okay, you don't think you are benefiting much from this relationship, or another polite way to say it is you are considering diverting it to something more interesting, and you feel like you need to start speaking with somebody else, right? And I think, at what point do they do that? Um, I mean, as soon as you you realize there is something wrong, you don't want to be there, and then the person will also be wasting their time trying to push things, and then you don't benefit from it. And I mean, it's very frustrating, right? Sometimes there are mentors you speak with, and they're like, okay, I'm helping this mentee, and it's like they are not growing, and I've wasted so much time, and then later on they tell me that, oh, that is not what they want. Yeah, it's really some way. And so, as soon as possible, please communicate that with whoever is mentoring you.
Okay. I hope your question have been answered. So have you had, I have an interesting question. Have you had a situation where a mentee is physically abusive? Like you met someone and they wanted to beat you up.
Hey, that's no. You have to explain this question. How did you end up in this kind of question? That's
No, I'm just curious.
okay.
No, 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 no. Maybe you have. Maybe you can share your experience with us.
No, I don't.
Top in tea fights.
Oh, I mean, it
I
can
mean,
happen.
we've seen several reports, right, about mentors being verbally abusive, and then mentees also being verbally abusive. And when you
Wow.
investigate into you realize that they are not naturally that kind of person, right? It's usually maybe they faced an issue or they are going through something currently, and then maybe a little thing the mentor mentions, and then they get emotional and all of those stuff.
Mm,
But
mm.
physically abusive, uh, I've never experienced or seen that before.
Okay. Okay, someone has a question. In some cases, you find at first mentee are serious, but along the way they tend to lose their focus. Have you ever encountered such, and how did you deal with it?
Yes. So when you start something at first, you are so eager to do it, and there is this enthusiasm that, okay, I need to do this and that. It's that everybody has been in that situation before. You start a YouTube video, you download the whole playlist, and you want to watch it, and a few hours later, you are already tired. You don't even open it anymore, right? And so it's it's an issue of discipline, right? And one of the things about good mentors is they really help prepare or structure their relationship with the mentee, which is very important, right? So when somebody comes to you that, James, I want to learn or become a better designer, first of all, I need to sort of diagnose what the problem is or why they want to be a better designer. Where do they lack, right? Once you identify those places, you structure sort of a way to help them, right? And so the reason why you structure is so that there is focus and there is sort of a direction the mentee goes. When there is no focus, there is a loss of interest, there is a loss of value, and the relationship is broken, right? And so I think it's better to avoid that than to try to fix it. So to your question, right, where along the way they tend to lose focus, right? What you need to do is avoid that situation by structuring your mentorship relationship or how you need to help the mentee before that happens. In any case, you've already structured or put these measures in place, and then still the mentee loses focus, then you as a mentor need to know that this mentee is not serious, right? Or they have a problem that you need to deal with before the main mentorship relationship. I have encountered a situation like this before, and basically, actually on 3 occasions, right? The first one, I wasn't very experienced, and so I just cut off the relationship because I wasn't even having time for any drama. But then the second time, learning from other mentors and everything else, right? I decided to structure my mentorship relationship with this mentee, right? And in structuring that, right, there is a high level of accountability in the relationship. And so at some point, you realize that the mentee, okay, I'm learning typography, I'm learning visual hierarchy or something like that. And then they see something fancy somewhere and they are talking about it. And even in your mentorship session, they want to talk about that. And I'm like, no, you will definitely get there, but then this is more important right now. And then you remind them why they actually started this, right? And so you basically need to bring them back to focus. In any case where they feel like, okay, I'm good, I want to do something else, I don't think this is more important to me, that's fair enough. I think you shouldn't be too attached to certain things as a mentor, right? A mentor must not be too attached to the mentee's decisions, because if you do, it's really going to affect you personally. And so you should allow, at the end of the day, the person came to you for help, right? If they want the help, they will listen to you. If they don't want the help, they will do whatever they want to do. And you shouldn't be attached to it. Don't let the mentee's attitude or behavior carry you um, away as a mentor.
All right. I also have a question. Does a relationship have to be strictly about mentorship, or maybe you can take your mentor or your mentee to lunch or to a restaurant or to the beach?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So I quite remember last year, a mentor and a mentee on ADP list went for hiking, right? Which is a cool thing. Even for me, right? Next month, one of my personal advisor, who used to be a mentor, came. She's coming to Ghana with the family. She's coming to Ghana because I'm here, right? And so you can basically build that kind of relationship. And I am all like I'm always on a call with her every week, right, to discuss her plans, how things are going with her. And she, like, there are so many things we talk about. She's gone beyond just a leadership mentor to a personal, like, she's really helped me a lot on different levels. She has experience in so many things, advice and everything, relationship and so many things, right? And so it's really not about like um just learning or like mentorship, hopping on course. No, there are so many things you can do to build even a healthier relationship with them, and that's the most important thing. That's the thing about social learning, right? It's not about just the learning; it's about learning from the person's experiences and trying to encounter or experience the person as an individual, right? And what actually drives them.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and of course, I think these are things you need to be mindful of. At the end of the day, you're dealing with people, right? Human beings. And so, for instance, I'm mentioning a young girl who wants me to take her out for lunch. It's very risky, especially for me,
Yeah.
right? Because um, I don't know. I probably am in a relationship with somebody. How is the person going to feel about it, and all of this? And not to say the person doesn't trust me, but you need to set boundaries, right? And those boundaries are very, very essential for you. So.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. I think at this point we'll bring our webinar to a close. Benjamin?
Yes, I think for me it has been a lot of insights sharing, and then I've noted a lot of things. I mean, based on all the questions that James answered. So I'll keep reflecting on them, and I'm sure it will also help me to improve. Especially as I have some students contacting me to ask questions, to know the context in which, or the ideas that I would use to help them get a better experience from learning from me. So I'm very happy that James was able to make it. This has been a wonderful discussion. So, Charlie, thank you.
Thank you very much. I've also learned a lot, and maybe I'll come back. I'll come back to our mentorship relationship again.
Certainly, certainly.
Okay. So if anyone needs mentorship from ADPLIS, the website is adplis.org, right?
Yeah, adplis.org.
Okay. So I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah.
All right. So at this point, thank you very much for honoring our invitation, and we are very happy that you came. And we hope you join us for our next one, or anytime we need you. We hope you'll be available to join us.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
All right. And thank you also to our guests, to our people for joining us. We are very grateful. And I hope you've learned a lot from James. Yeah, someone says it's really a great session, and thank you. So much inspiration from James. Thank you very much, Horeen. I hope I mentioned the name right.
Yeah.
So we'll bring it to a close, and we wish you all a happy weekend. And yeah, enjoy your evening.
Next month, what do we have?
So we have another one next month. So we will communicate it to all those who joined us.
Okay.
And we have your email addresses, so we'll communicate it to you. And then you also have to tell your friends, your family, your colleagues, everyone about the Better Me project. We are building a community of students and young people who are willing to own their education. So tell everyone about it. So you join us for our next month's webinar. Thank you very much, and see you next month. Bye.
Bye-bye.